Besides breaking up the markets by building class, we're also breaking up by submarkets. I'm going to walk you through the submarkets, except for Market West, which I'll turn over to Jack Soloff. That's the largest of all our submarkets. We'll get a detailed description of that submarket. And I'm going to walk you from the east side of town to the west side of town. And starting over in Independence Square, that overall market is about 4.8 million square feet. Last year saw a negative absorption of 32,000 square feet. You can almost point to two situations that made that number. If you recall back in 2009, when Roman Haas got bought by Dow put the building on the market, and they also looked to downsize dramatically in the space. In 2010, they decided not to sell the building, but renovate the building. And in that process, they also decided to take an additional floor in the building for their advanced metals division. That additional floor absorbed about 40,000 square feet of space. On the downside, at the Bourse building, the Navy is going to leave that building and move to a federally owned building in Northeast Philadelphia. That's going to put a 70,000 square foot hole in that building, which is going to be a significant effect on that building itself. Some other, not commercial real estate, but great news in Independence Square last year was the opening of the National Museum of American Jewish History. Supposedly a wonderful party that happened there. It's a great asset for that in the town, being where it's located in the building itself. The Lafayette building, which has sat vacant for several years, by year end has been committed to be turned into a 270-room Monaco hotel. There were some major renewals last year: Penn Mutual, ABIM for roughly 99,000 square feet, and Beneficial Bank for approximately 89,000 square feet. As we go through these slides, when you see the Grobinellis logo, that just indicates transactions that we were involved in as we write it up and talk about it. So as we move to Market East, that market is about 5.5 million square feet. Wanamaker Building had some activity where United Health contracted, and besides contracting, they also told the owner, if you can find someone to fill back about 60,000 square feet, we'll also give that back. Digitas expanded, Leveling renewed. At the Wagner Building, the DA took an additional full floor. That's about 24,000 square foot expansion for the DA. On the construction side, 1201 Chestnut Street started its renovation into an apartment building. The Pennsylvania Convention Center will open up, finish its construction, and open up March of this year. And the Thomas Jefferson University Hospital is building a building at 9th and Walnut Street. It's actually a very small building, small floor plate. That building is going to be about 80 to 90,000 square feet. Janney Montgomery Scott moved their data center to 833 Chestnut Street. Year end, it had an overall vacancy level in that submarket of approximately 10%. Now I'm going to move you down to South Broad Street, smaller submarket. This and the next submarket kind of intertwined with each other, Walnut Chestnut. About 2.5 million square feet. I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago, this was the tightest of all our submarkets, at like 5% vacant. So it just kind of shows you what's happened in the past couple of years, an example of flight to quality. 260 South Broad Street lost 3 major tenants, thus affecting its cash flow, and now the building is in receivership. Huntsworth contracts and renews at 1 South Broad Street. Domus contracts and renews at 123 South Broad Street. And Wells Fargo offers the entire Witherspoon building for sublet. Quietly, Wells Fargo over the past 4 years has probably given back close to 400,000 square feet. So it's amazing how, almost quietly, they've been able to contract into this marketplace. Just on Walnut Street, about 2 million square feet of vacancy, 2 million square feet of buildings, 18.5% vacant. Now, that's a little deceiving because 40% of that vacancy is actually in one building, which is 2401 Walnut Street, which has just completed a full renovation. This year, in 2010, they had successful leasing in that building to the U.S. Marshals and to Beata Nurses. Not shown in the statistics, but will affect this market dramatically in 2012. Marshall Dennehy plans to relocate from 1845 Walnut Street to 2000 Market Street. The reason it's not in the statistics is that that move will not occur until 2012. But that's going to put about 100,000 square foot hole into 1845 Walnut Street. Welch, Williams, and Davidson renewed at 1845 for 45,000 square feet. Klein and Spector renewed at 1525 Locust for about 50,000 square feet. It's pretty dramatic because that's 10 floors in that building. It's a significant tenant that occupies that. 1619 Walnut Street completed its renovations. Pretty cool facade. And that's all. This has always been our big retail area. And if you've been by the Apple Store, it looks like New Year's, Christmas Eve every day. You'll see that open up this year. I'm going to jump the river now. I'm going to go over to University City, kind of what Jeff indicated as the eds and meds. As you see, this is the tightest of all our markets downtown at 7.2%. The 2.5 million square feet of space is actually not in our Center City inventory of 39 million. It's its own basically submarket. It has the highest asking rental rate. Part of that's driven by the fact most of the buildings there are new. One of the latest buildings was actually built to be a lab, so those rents are higher because of the TI being offered in that situation. 3020 Market Street completed its renovations. The Science Center just shows continued growth. Plans to develop a 12-story, 250,000 square foot building at 3737 Market. The IRS moved down to Brandy Line, renovated the post office, and that brings 5,000 employees down into that end of town. University Place continues to be marketed, and that is the only Platinum LEED approved building in the state of Pennsylvania, if I have that right. CHOP renews at 3535 Market Street for 226,000 square feet. Penn actually gives a floor back there for about 25,000 square feet. This also shows you the continued growth of this industry. University of Pennsylvania and CHOP both acquired sites on the east side of the Schuylkill. Penn buying the DuPont Philadelphia Works, and CHOP's acquiring the Kennedy Building. Both of them for long-term holds as continued expansion for their needs. LeBeau donated $45 million, the largest single donation in Drexel's history, to fund a new 12-story, $92 million academic center. You haven't seen hotel activity in that submarket. $50 million Homewood Suites by Hilton will be constructed at 4109 Walnut Street. Also shows you how that submarket continues to expand west as well as east. The Inn at Penn by Hilton plans on doing a $10 million renovation at 3600 Sansom Street. Now, before I bring up Jack Soloff, I want to tell Jack's favorite joke. Did you ever hear the story about the two antennae that got married? The service wasn't all that great, but the reception was tremendous. And with that, I turn